At the moment, a lot of artists, a lot of designers, very frightened of it. There's this sort of ring of fear around it.
It has this marvellous sort of ambivalent qualities of being both hard and technical, but also sort of, quite sculptural and poetic all at the same time.
It has a colour-changing ability. It's very chameleon-like.
It's very exciting because it's a brand new material in an industry that has used the same materials and the same techniques virtually for thousands of years.
At half the weight of steel, titanium has been used in some of the world's most exceptional inventions. The fastest aeroplanes, extraordinary buildings, and expensive designer goods.
Not because it's precious in the sense you can melt it down and sell it on the black market. It's precious in the sense that engineers and craftsmen can do extraordinary things with it.
Coming up in this programme, the Luxury Channel explores the world of the wonder metal titanium and hears from leading designers and artists about this fascinating luxury metal of the future.
The work that goes into it is so labour-intensive, so expert, so highly skilled. It's like the high wire act of virtuoso craftsmanship.
This programme will also look at the history of titanium and hear what makes it one of the world's most extraordinary supermetals. Titanium was discovered in Cornwall in England in 1791 by clergyman and amateur scientist William Gregor, who reported he had found a magnetic black sand near the beaches of Manacan and named the mineral Manacanite. Titanium can be found in many forms. As well as its most common form, sand, it is present in most igneous rocks. But it also shows up in all sorts of minerals such as ilmenite and rutile. A few years after Gregor's discovery, a German chemist, M.H. Klaproth, named the new element titanium, after the Titans of Greek mythology. In order to use titanium, it has to be converted into a usable form, which means extracting it from its source. And although many chemists worked on producing a process of titanium extraction, it wasn't until 1938 that a German scientist named Kroll invented the process which is still used in commercial production today. Unlike other precious metals, titanium is likely to remain so, however affordable it becomes.
Gold is the most obvious, genuinely precious metal. But gold's got, apart from being a terrifically good electrical conductor, gold has got very few, practical attributes. But titanium's rather different. It's not precious, in itself, but becomes precious because of what you can do with it.
Lightweight was one of the main attractions for Dan Aitchison, designer of Ecose's Titanium Heretic series. The road bike is so called because it sports the world's first all-titanium frame, making it super light and super fast.
I'd say styling came second. It's definitely function before form. We wanted our first bike to be a high-performance street bike. So when we said street, we wanted it to be very, very simple and a lot of fun to ride. It's a blast. Whether you're in second, third, or fourth, it doesn't really matter. Just turn the throttle and pull right out. When we test ride bikes, for various reasons, especially we're prototyping a couple more bikes, we easily hit speeds of 145 to 155, not really trying that hard. We go all the way up to 120 cubic inch motor, but this motorcycle is so light that there's really no need to go above that, but we have played with larger motors and we'll see what kind of bike we dream up for that.
With its light frame, the Titanium Heretic is one of the world's most expensive production bikes, weighing in at a hefty €200,000. But it does come with a free watch. Watchmakers also found the appeal of titanium's lightness attractive.
It's a great metal. It's light, it's extremely tough, hard, durable, but it has taken a long time for it really to be accepted by the watch buying public, because up until now, recently, over the last couple of years, there's been this association with wristwatches where heavy is good. I want to feel the weight. Do you know what I mean?
Omega, whose Seamaster watch was made famous on the wrist of James Bond, have made several watches using titanium.
Watches, they are really the ultimate status symbol. They can be the ultimate investment if you buy right. So really it's a great excuse for sort of male plumage. Titanium watches are perhaps not for the first time buyer, because normally the first-time buyer wants to show that he's got something a bit special on his wrist. I think they are for more of a connoisseur, in that he knows it's titanium. It may not look like $1 million, but he knows, and that's kind of what matters to him. And I think that's a level of watch collecting that you get to after a while. I don't particularly think many people buy a titanium watch because, oh, it is actually that much lighter. I don't think people care that much about the weight, etc. If anything, if you had to split it, probably 50-50, people still prefer a heavy watch. I think it's an inverse snobbery type thing. It's a sort of, I know.
So far, the Luxury Channel has met artists and designers working with titanium and discovered how recent breakthroughs in technology are positioning titanium to become the super metal of the 21st century. Over the last 50 years, titanium has already proved to be technically superior in aerospace, the military, and even the medical industry. But it is only now that the metal is really coming into its own in areas such as jewellery and design, although it enjoyed brief periods in the limelight during the 1970s when British jewellery designers first began using it. London's Victoria and Albert Museum is home to some of the earliest works by jewellers working in titanium.
Jewellers started to experiment with titanium in the early 1970s, and it was a point when many jewellers were questioning the use of precious metals and wanted an alternative to the conventional gold. And titanium gave them a much cheaper option to work with, but also it had immense possibilities. Titanium can be transformed into the most extraordinary colour range, beautiful sort of shimmering greens, pinks, yellows, browns, purples, an amazing range of colours which depend on either the voltage, if it's produced by electrolysis, or dependent on the temperature, if it's produced by heat treatment.
At the launch party in London, one of the world's hottest jewellery designers, Solange Azuguri-Partridge, is unveiling her new collection, Titanium Black Rainbows. Solange's designs are testament to how much techniques in titanium jewellery design have moved on since the 1970s.
Solange is a leader of a whole new generation of designer jewellers. She's very intent on breaking barriers, on pushing forward, on playing with all the cliches and the conventions of jewellery design, really turning them on their head. She's been enormously successful and she carries on pushing forward.
Solange broke the rules by creating dramatic sculptural settings from unconventional combinations of stones, including uncut precious and semi-precious gems. She has attracted a big celebrity following. Her designs have been seen about town on actresses and models such as Tandy Newton, Kate Moss and Kristin Scott Thomas.
You know, I suppose when something hides how complicated it is, it's quite nice not to see how problematic something's been. It just, you know, it just looks quite natural and easy, but it wasn't.